All right, welcome back, everybody, to Sound Off. I am Mr. Sound Off himself. We are now going into the Major League Baseball playoffs. Playoff baseball season is upon us. The time of the year is here. Thank goodness. Love me some baseball and playoffs, of course, as well. What a great time of the year. Fall's upon us. We have football going on. And now Major League Baseball playoffs is here starting today. September 30th. Welcome everybody to Sound Off. Thanks everybody for your comments, your feedback. Remember to hit the button for liking, subscribing to the channel. Sharing the channel, letting other people know as well. The channel here where we mostly do sports. We do sports, music, some entertainment things as well. But we don't just only cover football, so keep coming back for the weekly picks and power rankings on that there. But I want to go through and do my predictions for the Major League Baseball playoffs here. And then I'll also do a separate video as well for my power rankings for the playoffs. Could be a different thing, right? Sometimes not always the number one team is a team that ends up winning the World Series itself. Might be based off of matchups they have and things like that there. So come and check out the other video as well for the power rankings. That'll have all the teams from American League and National League. All right, so first off, today we have the Tigers versus the Guardians in that matchup there in the American League. School is going for the Tigers, of course, in game one. If this was a best-of-5 series, I would go with the Tigers, but it's not. It's a best-of-3 series. Tigers have been sliding a whole bunch lately. Guardians have been playing great. I could definitely see the Tigers getting game one with Scooble on the mound. And this is why I said if it was a best of 5, then all of a sudden you get Scooble come back around for, maybe game 4, almost for sure, for game 5. Best of 3, I think he's only going to go once. And I think the Guardians are going to be able to win 2 of those games there and take that series. In the National League, you have the Padres versus the Cubs. Cubs, good, solid team throughout their entire lineup. Let's see here. With the where did I put some of my notes that I put on the Cubs? What I thought was crazy on the Cubs, 4 Gold Glove winners on that roster. That's pretty crazy. And now, of course, you have Pete Crow Armstrong there in center field. That's a potential, possibly this season, if not in his future, is going to be another Gold Glover. So that's pretty incredible. I know, my A's there for a while. We had Chapman and Olsen. You had a platinum gold glove player at third base and Olsen at first. It makes a huge difference when you're taking runs off the board for their team. I really do think that's a big deal for them. However, I'm not as keen on the Cubs maybe overall lineup and their pitchers, those kind of things there. Their back end, their bullpen. So the Padres, on the other hand, I think the Padres have the best bullpen in baseball, all right, especially after they made the trade for Mason Miller from the A's to help there with that. So all of a sudden you get to the 5th inning of a game, 5th, 6th inning of the game, and that game's possibly over. Or if the Padres are behind, they're able to keep their team right in line with it, so that way they can score some runs and keep the other team without scoring. Kind of reminds me a bit of the Kansas City Royals during those years they were playing against the Giants and also winning it themselves, right, for the Royals, where they had like those 3-4 relievers at the end of the game that would just lock teams down. No one could score against them. Beat my A's, actually, I think that year in that wild card game, that elimination game to get into the playoffs. And ran through the playoffs. So I think the Padres have enough firepower on offense. And then when you're shortening a game down to like 5 innings, I think that's going to be huge. You get to the playoffs, it's all hands on deck. I think those relievers are going to be able to go every game, every other game, those kind of things there. You have some days off. So, I think you start all of a sudden it's kind of like NBA playoffs where you're only playing 7 out of your 11 guys, right? Well, I think those main 3, 4, 5 relievers or whatever for the Padres, those guys are going to be being used all the time. You're not going to have to go to some of the other guys. I also think the Padres, what's not talked about a whole lot with them is how deep their roster is, how many guys they have on the bench that are legit plug and play type of players. So also when you have that matchup and you're like, okay, they just brought in a righty, who are we going to bring in? Oh, we have Jason Hayward or something like that on the bench. Yuli Gurriel, Ramon Laureano. They have a lot of these kind of guys there that they can plug and play in different spots that aren't your Fernando Tatises and Machados and things like that there for that team. So I'm going to go with the Padres winning that series. I'm going Padres winning it 2-1 over the Cubs. I don't know if I said it before, but Guardians winning it 2-1 over the Tigers. And then we go into next after that. Pretty crazy, some of these matchups that we're getting. Pretty fun for baseball fans and for fans of rivalries. Next matchup after that, we got Red Sox versus Yankees. And even though they don't have Garrett Cole, I think that's going to limit what the Yankees can do in the long run. You get into a longer series, those kind of things there. But I almost kind of feel like the Red Sox a little bit like the Tigers. All right, have a great starting pitcher. Backhand bullpen's been is pretty good as well. I think the Yankees are going to be able to pull this out. I think they have a little bit more depth on their team, firepower. It really comes down to probably Aaron Judge. Is he World Series? Is he playoff Aaron Judge? Or is he regular season MVP, one of the best offensive players in MLB history, Aaron Judge. But I'm going to go with the Yankees to win that series 2-1 over the Red Sox. And then the final series is the Dodgers versus the Reds. I like me some Terry Francona. Super happy to see the Reds get in there. I always kind of like them. I like the colors, the stadium, their mascot, all this kind of stuff there about the Reds. I'd love to see like the Pirates also get in as well from that division. Unfortunately, they have to play against one of the greatest rosters of all time in the LA Dodgers. I know the Dodgers have been slipping a ton lately towards the back end half of the season. Bullpen has really been their Achilles heel. Just a ton of injuries. Thankfully for them that they spent so much money that they're able to have all these injuries and still be this good, still have this much depth on their team. I think is going to come to fruition in this series. Also maybe Shohei, you're going to start like seeing him maybe ramp up as far as like, okay, we're no longer having you throw like, 3, 4, 5 innings. Maybe all of a sudden they're going to let him throw, could you see him going 6, 7, 8 innings in a game, something like that there, especially with the bullpen struggles. I think Dodgers are going to be able to handle this series. I got them winning it 2-0 over the Reds for that wild card round. So there's the wild card matchups. We go into our divisional games here, and then you would have the Guardians versus the Mariners. You have the Yankees versus the Blue Jays, Dodgers versus the Phillies, and Padres versus the Brewers. Love these matchups. A whole lot of great stuff around here. It's like so hard to pick really where I would go with what my gut tells me, some of the stats, some of the matchups, those kind of things there that you see between all these teams. I'll start with the American League, and we have the Guardians versus the Mariners. Mariners have been forever since they made it in, since they won the West, all those kind of things there. They have a whole bunch of good stuff going for them, and nothing bigger than Cal Riley, right? Amazing. To me, I think even though he's hit about 100 points lower than Aaron Judge, which is big, you being a catcher, a starting catcher, not someone who... like there's some other catchers like Buster Posey, some other people start doing towards the end of their careers where, okay, you're a first baseman 4 days out of every 5 and once or twice a week maybe you catch. Like he's their starting catcher, he's their main catcher all the time. To do that and put up those kind of numbers is insane. So for my MVP vote, I would go with Cal. So you have Mariners versus the Guardians. I think Mariners also have a couple top line pitchers as well on that team. Let's see here, and let's see where my notes again on different teams here. I think top 4 hitters as well. You got Cal, Julio, Naylor, And Rosarena is at playoff Rosarena as well, so you got to watch out for that. If he really starts cranking up like some of those years for the Rays, look out for them to go the entire distance. They only got 2 pitchers on their staff that qualify for ERA. So they pitched enough innings throughout the year. That's Wu and Castillo. The nice thing is Wu with a 2.94 and Castillo with a 3.54. They have some great stats to go along with it. Their number 1 guy is really Logan Gilbert. And shout out to Logan and his brother Tyler. Tyler was a great kid I got to coach down in Santa Cruz years ago. So shout out to the Gilberts, and good luck to Logan. And he's battled some injuries and stuff like that there this year, but really has put together a very solid 3.44 ERA as well. If they're coming together and they're fully healthy again, those 4 top guys hitting wise, that's going to be a scary team going forward. I have the Mariners winning this series over the Guardians 3-2. And then you go to the other American League matchup. You have the Blue Jays versus the Yankees. The Blue Jays are super deep, by the way, on their pitching staff as well. They have guys that are also injured or coming back from injury. Those kind of things there. So they're a pretty crazy team. What all the Blue Jays have. Offensively, obviously they have Vlad. They got Bo Bichette Jr. Springer, I don't think enough people give him credit. I mean, really, he's pretty much their driving force this year, and a proven known winner as well. Kirk, they have a good hitting catcher. That's always a big deal. And then they have guys that, again, maybe didn't have their strongest years, but this is the number 1 team from the American League with these guys having bad years and guys that have shown before they can dominate a game, have shown before they can dominate a playoff game. Max Scherzer, Bieber. They also have Varland, Gossman, Bassett, Berrios. My biggest worry about them is Hoffman closing it, and has decent numbers. But it's not like stellar numbers. They don't have maybe the bullpen that some other teams do out there. So that would be kind of my one flaw I see with the Blue Jays. But I think they're a really strong team, and I'm picking the Blue Jays to win this series, over the Yankees 3-2. In the National League, we have the Dodgers and the Phillies. That's a tough matchup. I mean, that's a great World Series type matchup right there. It's too bad it's the best of 5 series, not the best of 7. But it's going to be a fun one to watch still, nonetheless. I have the Phillies actually taking this series 3-2 over the Dodgers. I think the Phillies are not having quite the bullpen struggles, and just kind of blowing some of these games that the Dodgers are doing right now. It's hard for me to feel bad for the Dodgers, really, but if the Dodgers didn't have as many injuries and things like that going on, for their team, how they were constructed, they're way better than what they've been playing lately and should be the World Series favorites, but they're not, right? I think next year, all of a sudden you go into it and you say, okay, these guys are all coming back. Otani's pitching at full strength, all this kind of stuff there. They're looking fantastic, but Schwarber's having an amazing year. They have a bunch of guys that are playoff proven guys like Schwarber, Harper, Justin Turner. Trey Turner. Lazardo from the, again, another ex-A's guy, really kind of living up to the height that was coming along with him. Good pitching staff on the Phillies. I think they have just a ton of firepower as well. That whole lineup is really deep. So I think the Phillies are going to go ahead and take that series over the Dodgers 3-2. And then you have the last divisional matchup here. We have the Padres versus the Brewers. Love me some Brewers. Got to meet Uke and their announcers last year when I was out there in Milwaukee. What a stadium, what a people, what a town, what a city, what a whole state. Loved it over there, getting to see Lambeau Field and then down there to Milwaukee as well for some Brewers games. What a year for the Brewers as well. They are the number 1 team in the National League, set the record for most wins ever by the Brewers franchise this year. So what a season for the Brewers. Yelich is having a rebound turnaround season, 29 home runs. Churio with 21. Drops off, a bit after that. Then you have nobody else in their entire roster with more than 20 home runs. That's a little worrisome to me. You have 18 or below that for everybody else. Peralta with a 2.7 ERA. Woodruff is also coming back from battling through some injuries, so another kind of proven guy that maybe he can put together here in the playoffs. Koenig from Aptos. Another shout out here. Used to coach with his dad in Aptos. Not with his dad, I guess, against his dad, and then same players when I used to live down in Aptos and at Aptos High, those kind of things there where he went to. So, another shout out. So I got a couple guys that I used to, or I have some connections with, I guess, coaching that are in these playoffs here. It's always fun to see that, right? And what a stud. So Brewers looking really good as well for this series here. I'm actually going to go with the Padres on this. I think maybe that layoff for the Brewers isn't going to help them out like it's done to so many teams previously. I just think the Padres have that bullpen again that, like I talked about a few minutes ago, reminds me of the Royals from back when, and are going to be able to kind of pull this stuff out, right? And the Brewers are really kind of known for their, I guess, consistency and their just 1 through 9 approach, it's a great approach where all of us kind of chip in. We all have our moments. We all have our days. But I feel like you're going to have maybe a couple studs really have some games, some moments, a series to beat a team where their bullpen is going to maybe lock you down every game, kind of thing. And so I think the Padres have that with their bullpen. I think again the Padres have enough firepower to take that series from the Brewers. So I'm going Padres in 5, 3-2 over the Brewers. When we go to our next matchups here, we go next round, I should say. Even we have the Mariners versus the Blue Jays in the American League, and Phillies versus the Padres in the National League. Go back to the American League here. Like to talk about Blue Jays have very solid pitching staff. A bunch of offensive, firepower as well. Very consistent team. Like I said, my biggest concern is really about their closer, but I feel like everything else, they kind of have that figured out. They could do a lot in a lot of different situations here. I think they're also battle tested where they go through the American League East every year, against the Yankees, against the Red Sox, against all these teams here, and really able to pull it out. Their fortune is really gonna stand through on this here. The only difference I would say is, again, Rosarena, Cal, obviously if Cal is tearing it up, he can maybe be just a difference maker by himself. But Rosarena, if he's all of a sudden playing like playoff wise, Rosarena just having one of those kind of playoff stints, he could maybe turn this around. But if not, I'm going to go with the Blue Jays to win this series 4-2 over the Seattle Mariners. And then in the National League, such a tough series to call. I mean, a lot of me wants to go with the Phillies here in this series. Again, they do have great pitching on that staff as well. Maybe not as great of pitching as what the Padres do, and definitely not the bullpen that the Padres do. They have a deep lineup. A lot of their guys are not having like crazy years, like a Schwarber obviously has. But, can that bullpen of the Padres lock down those few guys and lock down that offense of the Phillies? That's what I'm going to go with here on this series. And I'm going to say the Padres win this series against the Phillies 4-3 in Game 7 to take the series and advance to the World Series. And now, what you guys have all been waiting for, my prediction for who your World Series champion is going to be. We have the Blue Jays versus the Padres in the World Series. Isn't that a fun matchup, by the way? I mean, if you think about it, if you just take out, obviously, some of the gigantic teams, sorry to, go back here a second and take a step back before I really, announce who I'm going to say is going to win the World Series, but Phillies are in there a lot, Dodgers are in there a lot, Really, honestly, the Brewers have actually been in there quite a bit, lately too, for quite a while. Yankees, obviously, Red Sox. You have a lot of the same kind of teams in there. What a fun possibility as far as these playoffs goes to see like the Reds possibly make it in there. The Blue Jays, the Mariners going in, the Padres. I would love to see the Brewers also be in the World Series, obviously. So you have a lot of kind of fun possible matchups, but Padres Blue Jays is like, what a weird matchup, or Padres Mariners or something like that. They share a spring training facility together. It would be cool for those two teams to match up in the World Series as well. We get to the World Series between these two teams. I think the Blue Jays have good enough firepower to kind of stay along with the Padres. I think the Padres obviously have the edge up on the bullpen once again on there. I think they have enough offensive firepower, the Padres do again, to combat some of the pitchers that the Blue Jays have. I think they're going to have some of those games where they dominate a game that starter does, and they win that game. They win a couple games. But with my pick for the World Series, these guys right here, Padres are actually going to pull it out this year. All right, they're not just going to make it to the playoffs with a good record and promise of what they could once become and those kind of things. I'm saying that they're taking it home. I think they're really built for the playoffs, even more so than the regular season, and they're going to put it all together for these playoffs and beat the Blue Jays 4-2, win the World Series in 6, and the San Diego Padres are going to be your 2025 World Series champions. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think about the predictions, the different series, the World Series, the wildcard games, divisional games, all these kind of things here. Really tough to pick on these because such fun teams, so evenly matched. A lot of them, some are really great in one spot, and maybe not so much in another spot. So the matchups really do matter. Like I said, I'll make another video on my power rankings as well for the postseason. But let me know in the comments down below what you think of my predictions there. Hopefully you guys like the video. My other videos, keep coming back for more sports, music, and entertainment videos here on Sound Off. I am Mr. Sound Off. Everybody have a great rest of your day.